The Hammerhead legendary machine gun has returned to us. When this first released, this was the best machine gun in Destiny 2, and today we're here to answer the question, is it still the best? I'm going to be doing a review on the perks and the stats, so you guys can see what perk options this comes with, so you guys know what god roll you're going to be chasing in the new onslaught activity. So Guardians, let's get into this.
Yo, it's time to subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. What are you doing?
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous.
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. Like the video, come on.
Hell
you know
yeah.
the drill.
Button.
And slap that like button.
The Hammerhead is a legendary void machine gun sitting in the heavy slot, and it is an adaptive frame, so it is just like the commemoration machine gun that drops from the Deepstone Crypt raid. And if you directly compare it to it, you will see that the Hammerhead does have a better base range, base stability, has a better reload speed, a bigger magazine, and a higher aim assist. So already just going off the stats, this machine gun is coming out pretty juiced. So when we take a look at the barrels, we've got all your normal barrel options. This does have a base recoil direction of 75. So if you go with arrowhead break, that's going to give it a plus 25 to your recoil direction, giving this a perfect 100 recoil. I don't think it's really necessary to max out the recoil on this. I would go with something like small bore for a plus 7 to stability and 7 to range, or just go with hammer forge, which gives you a plus 10 to your range. Moving on to the magazine perks. In PvE, you definitely want to increase the magazine size, so you can go with something like extended mag. Going to give you a plus 14 to your magazine size and a plus 10 to your airborne effectiveness, but it's going to give you a negative 18 to your reload speed. And if you're not a fan of hurting your reload speed, you can go with something like appended mag. It's only going to increase your magazine by plus 9, but it does not hurt your reload speed at all. And then another honorable mention for the magazine perks for PvE would be armor piercing rounds, because this can actually go through shields and combatants, which comes in handy sometimes. And then if you're looking to use this in PvP, I would definitely say ricochet rounds for that plus 5 in range and plus 10 to stability. Now looking at the first column of trait perks, you have a rewind rounds, fourth time's a charm, envious assassin, under over, destabilizing rounds, rampage, and feeding frenzy. Rewind rounds states that when this weapons magazine is empty, it refills from reserves based on the number of hits. This is a pretty good perk. It's going to help you lay on the trigger a lot longer. Then we've got fourth time's a charm, rapidly landing precision hits will return 2 rounds to the magazine. This is definitely a top tier perk on this, but you really only want to be using this perk when you know you're going to be damaging some sort of boss or a target that has a lot of health and they have a really big crit spot, because as soon as you start to miss those crits, this perk is not going to be helping you out at all. Then we have envious assassin, defeating targets with other weapons before drawing. This one transfers ammo to the magazine from reserves. This effect can overflow the magazine based on the number of targets defeated, and for special and power weapons, every kill is going to grant you a 20% increase. And you can actually affect the envious assassin perk by having a bigger magazine perk, and you can put something like backup mag on it, and it will up the number of bullets you can get in total. And I have seen some screenshots on Twitter with people with like 170 in the mag. So if you're someone who doesn't like to reload at all, envious assassin is definitely a perk you guys want to consider. Up next we have under over, deals bonus damage to targets with overshields, deals a small amount of bonus damage to combatant shields. This is a pretty good perk. I know it's very useful in PvP with all the overshield shenanigans that goes on in there, and it could be useful in PvE as well, but I honestly would rather just take a damage perk. So personally, I'm skipping out on under over, but that is just my opinion. Up next we have destabilizing rounds. Final blows cause nearby targets to become volatile. This is a very, very good perk, especially if you're trying to synergize it with your void subclass. I know all those hunter mains who have the Gyrfalcon's chest piece just get destabilizing rounds for free. So if you're not a hunter main, you're a titan or warlock, and you like the purple explosions, definitely go with destabilizing rounds. The Hammerhead machine gun is not a DPS weapon, it is an ad clear weapon, and having destabilizing rounds on this is just going to help you clear more ads even faster. Up next we have a rampage. Kills with this weapon temporarily grant increased damage, and it stacks 3 times. Rampage is nothing special, it's not too flashy, except when it comes to this weapon, and the reason for that is because a rampage is in the 3rd column, whereas normally damage perks are kind of just meant to go in the 4th column. But you got a damage perk here in the 3rd column, which means that we can pair this with another damage perk in the 4th column. So if you're like me, you like to see those bigger damage numbers on the screen. So Rampage is going to be my number 1 pick for this spot. And then last but not least, we've got Feeding Frenzy. Each rapid kill with this weapon progressively increases reload speed for a short time. And since you can take down tons of enemies in a short amount of time, Feeding Frenzy is a really good perk if you want that faster reload. In the last column of trait perks, you have Onslaught, Killing Tally, Desperate Measures, High Impact Reserves, Surrounded, Target Lock, and Tap the Trigger. Every single one of these perks except for Tap the Trigger is a damage dealing perk, which is really nice because we can pair all of these with a Rampage in that 3rd column and start stacking damage. Onslaught states that Final Blows with this weapon increases its rate of fire. Compare this with the OG Rampage. So every time you get a kill, you're gonna fire faster and do more damage. That is a really nasty combo. You also got Killing Tally. Kills increase this weapon's damage until it is stowed or reloaded. This stacks 3 times, and at that first stack, it's 10%, second stack 20, and 3rd stack it maxes out at a 30% damage increase, and you can stack that on top of Rampage, which is a 33.1% damage increase. That is pretty nasty. Then we've got Desperate Measures. Weapon Final Blows grant bonus damage. Melee and grenade Final Blows grant a larger damage bonus that can stack. So Desperate Measures also maxes out at 3 stacks, and it is the same as Killing Tally. 1 stack 10%, 2 stacks 20, 3 stacks 30%. In my opinion, I'm taking Killing Tally over Desperate Measures, because Desperate Measures, you will only get 1 stack and stay at 1 stack for a weapon kill. You have to get a grenade or melee kill if you want to go higher than that. Whereas Killing Tally is all you need to do is just get 3 kills on some low-level red bars and you're at max 30%, which is the same 30% damage increase you get for Desperate Measures. Then up next, you got High Impact Reserves. Rounds at the end of the magazine deal more damage. It increases the damage by 12.1% up to a maximum of 25.6%. It's a pretty good damage increase for not even having to get a kill, but I still prefer Killing Tally over that. And after that, we've got Surrounded. This weapon gains bonus damage when 3 or more enemies are in close proximity, and close proximity means within 8 meters of 3 enemies. Get a 40% increase in damage that lingers for 1.5 seconds after the condition is no longer met. So Surrounded is going to be the biggest damage increase in this column. And do not forget that all these perks are going to be enhanceable once the final shape comes out. And I do believe the enhanced Surrounded does like a tiny bit more damage. So if you're looking for the biggest damage buff, definitely go with Surrounded. Then up next, we've got Target Lock. Damage increases the longer this weapon remains on a target. Target Lock states that the damage bump ramps up from 16.75% up to 40% upon receiving maximum strength. So this is also the same damage increase as Surrounded, but if you miss a shot, it completely resets and you have to start over. Target Lock is a good perk to pair with 4th times a charm in that 3rd column, but we already have a machine gun that can get that perk combination, so it isn't really unique. So I would skip out on Target Lock if I were you. And last but not least, we have Tap the Trigger. Grants a short period of increased stability and accuracy on the initial trigger pull. Definitely stay away from this perk. I would only go for this if you were looking for a PvP Hammerhead. But then again, who out there is really looking for a PvP Hammerhead? Machine guns are really good in PvP. I'm not saying they're not, but come on, this thing is just screaming PvE. So Guardians, what is the god roll? In my personal opinion, for PvE, I'm going with Small Bore, Extended Mag, Rampage, and Killing Tally. Then you can slap on like a Major or even a Boss spec for a little bit more damage and pair that with a Reload Speed Masterwork. So whenever you do have to reload, it'll be a bit faster. That's my PvE god roll. And if you're looking to take this into PvP, I would go with maybe Arrowhead Break for that perfect recoil direction, Ricochet Rounds, Rampage, and Tap the Trigger. That would probably be your best bet for PvP. But as always, Guardians, these are just my thoughts, my opinions. Let me know what god roll you're chasing on the Hammerhead down below in the comments. If you guys are new here, need more Destiny 2 in your life, subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you enjoyed the content, follow me over on Twitch for the live streams, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.